thanks for coming back and watching my latest video. I'll be showing you how I do my foundation routine. First, we're going to start with some color correcting / concealing, and I'm taking the Black Radiance Conceal and Correct Stick / Concealer, and I'm just using that to cover up a few dark spots along my forehead, as well as under my eyes, and as you'll see in a moment, around the mouth area as well. Just basically any areas that I have any hyperpigmentation or discoloration at, things that won't be covered up by foundation all on its own. So next I'm just going in with a little small angled liner brush, but you can use any small brush, and I'm just using that to go in and blend out those areas that I corrected. Moving on to primer. This is from Black Opal. Again, I use this as well to help color correct, as well as add just a slight bit of coverage before I go in with foundation, and it helps to even out my skin tone as well. And I'm just going to blend out under the eyes with my Real Technique sponge. It is damp, it's not dry, and I'm just blending that out really quickly, as well as any other areas that need to be blended on the rest of my face as well. And just make sure you take your time with this. So next we have the Black Radiance Stick Foundation, Black Opal, and I like to do a little bit of highlighting under my foundation just to help give my skin a nice glow once foundation is added on top. So I'm just going in, applying that to the high points, mainly the nose, along the cheekbones, before going back in with my sponge again, and once more just making sure that I blend that out to my liking. Making sure that you blend is very key to making sure everything looks nice and smooth and not rough and harsh. So taking the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind concealers in the shades Tan and Hazelnut, I'm going in underneath the eyes, first with Tan. This would be considered my highlight shade. And then, as you'll see in a minute, I'm going to go with Hazelnut directly under that. Hazelnut's also considered a highlight shade for me, but it's slightly darker than Tan. So I get the benefits of both, because you don't want that super bright under eye. At least I don't, which is why I use 2 shades, but personal preference, you can use 1, both, whatever you like. So I'm also going to take Hazelnut, and I took that up along the forehead, down the bridge of my nose, as well as slightly under the cheekbones just to carve them out. And then I'm taking the Black Radiance foundation stick that's in the shade Espresso, and I'm going to use that not necessarily for contour because it is a warmer red tone shade, but I prefer a warmer contour / more bronzy look compared to cool and ashy tone contours. I think they just make me look dirty. This looks more warm, more flattering on my skin tone, again, in my personal preference. But potato, there's no rules. You're free to do what you like. I'm just carving out my cheekbones, forehead, and slightly along the nose. Now I'm just going to take a brush and blend that out. I am leaving my concealer there for last. A tip I learned from Jackie Aina is to let your concealer sit for a minute or so to let it get tacky and get better coverage out of it. The Instant Age Rewind concealer is pretty full coverage on its own, even if you go in blending right away. But I do like this trick just to get a little bit more coverage out of my concealers. So that's what I'm doing. Just going in and blending my contoured areas first. Try to, chisel these pounds off my face. Make the cheekbones pop out a little more. And I'm just using a fluffy buffer brush to blend that out, as well as the nose contour. And now I'm going back in again with that same Real Technique sponge, and I'm going to blend out my concealer. Make sure to take my time, pat it in nicely. And you want to make sure you do patting motions, not swiping. Swiping is going to remove the product. Patting is going to push that product into your skin and help it melt into the skin really nicely and give that nice skin-like finish that we want. And then really quickly just going in and blending out those highlighted points along the rest of my face with my Real Technique sponge, using any excess that's left on the sponge to carve out the cheekbones once more. And then just to make sure that everything's blended, because we like blended, not harshness here, going back with that same fluffy foundation brush that I used earlier for my contour, and just using whatever product was left on the brush to blend everything out and make sure where our concealer and contour meet looks nice and blended. And so now I'm setting my under eyes. I'm using the Black Radiance Loose Setting Powder. This is in the shade Banana. As you can see, I'm very light-handed with loose setting powder. Me personally, I get lines under my eyes increasing. They're just there, so I'm going to naturally crease. So to try to prevent that as much as possible, I'm very light-handed with my under eye powder, unless I'm baking for any reason. So now moving on to foundation, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. This is the shade 525 Deep Golden. And I'm just dotting that along my face before I go in with a fluffy stippling brush to blend that out all over my face. So this is the part of the video where you won't see me set my face or apply my highlight, because unfortunately that part of my video did get cut off, but I will be adding in a photo so that you can see the final product, and I will also be refilming this to show you my complete foundation routine from start to finish. So be on the lookout for that sometime this week, and thanks for watching. Bye.